Hi, this is Jeray with Intentional Life Therapy. Today we're going to talk about filters. Filters are how we process information from an external source. So we have our internal understanding of how things go, we process it, but externally the information has to enter through our filter. And these filters are your mental filters, your emotional filters, your spiritual filters, and then physical filters. And this really does affect your belief system. It affects how you perceive the world around you, therefore how you respond to your world around you. So it's important to recognize what filter you're using, what filter is being affected as you're hearing information. This is going to help you in relationships, because when you can recognize which filter is kind of tweaked or off track, then you can convey that to your partner or whoever you're talking to, your loved one, and let them know, I am tired. I am listening through this filter, and so I may not be as ready to hear what you're trying to tell me as maybe I normally would be because I'm tired. That is an example of a physical filter. Have you ever been so exhausted? Maybe you're not getting good sleep, and when you don't get good sleep, your brain doesn't process things the way it normally needs to process things. And so somebody can say something to you and you may snap at them. You might get snippy with them. And that's just because you are exhausted. You're fried. Or another example of a physical filter could simply be having headphones in your ears. When you have headphones in your ears, you can't really hear what the other person is saying. You don't hear them well. Or maybe you've gone to a concert and your ears are ringing from the music. You're not hearing really great yet. And so when somebody's trying to talk to you, you might have to say, what? What was that? So these are examples of physical filters. There are tangible filters, reasons why you cannot hear. The next type of filter is your emotional filter. And I'm sure some of you you can relate, you've had days where you are emotionally spent. You cannot take one more sad story. You can't hear one more complaint. You don't even really want to hear anything too stimulating, because you're fried. Again, you just have so much. Your cup can only hold so much, and it's full. This is an example of emotional filters. So what might happen when you are emotionally full and you can't receive the messages coming in because maybe it makes you feel overwhelmed. Maybe a friend is trying to give you advice to help comfort you. They're coming from a well-meaning place, but because you are so emotionally charged, you can't hear it. It contributes to your emotional sense of overwhelm, and you can't hear it. You have to remove yourself for a moment and kind of calm down. That is an emotional filter. Then there is the mental filter. Your mental filter has to do with your state of mind. And that can range from your state of mind, meaning you feel confident, you feel abled, you feel sure of yourself. And so when somebody contacts you or communicates with you and you're in that state of mind, you may overcommit yourself because you feel so empowered. And you're like, yeah, I can do this and I can do that. And then later on, you're like, why did I say that? That's an example of mental filter, positive. Mental filter meaning could also be a state of paranoia. Maybe you are having paranoia and therefore you're mistrustful, or maybe you are impulsive because of the paranoia. And so somebody comes up to you and well-meaning pays you a compliment, but if you're paranoid, you may wonder, well, what do they want from me? Why are they saying that? They wouldn't normally say that. And then your wheels are just spinning, and you may respond negatively toward that person when they were just trying to give you a compliment. That's mental filter. Then spiritual filter. Spiritual filter has to do with our meaning and purpose. What connects us to life? What connects us to this life? What connects us to the life after? Do we believe in life after? What do you believe about life after death? How do we connect to one another? That is a spiritual level, and it's irregardless of whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God. You still have a sense of purpose in life. You still have a sense of meaning, and where that purpose comes from will depend on where your higher power comes from. So people who follow Christ and who proclaim themselves to be Christian, They want to be Christ-like. They want to live a life that brings peace and hope through the atonement of Jesus Christ. People who may not subscribe to that point of view may find their peace and joy from being good, from having a good sense of moral base of character, and that comes from, maybe wanting to serve their fellow brothers and sisters here on earth. So your spiritual filter impacts how you perceive meaning and connection to this world and to one another. And that affects how you then behave, how you respond to your world, how you treat others. So when we have skews in our filters, like I said earlier, it's important to recognize, if you're in a communication with your partner, with a loved one, with a friend, even with a colleague, and you're just fried, you have to ask yourself, where is this coming from? Am I tired? Am I not getting enough sleep? Am I hungry? Have you ever been irritable because you're hungry? All right, that's a physical filter. Or you're in pain. You're in pain and you're irritable. Well, that's another physical filter, which also affects your mental filter, because pain, physical, and the mental worlds, they shake hands, as does the emotional and the spiritual. They all shake hands with one another. They're all connected. So for you to recognize where is this coming from is really important in you having insight to how you're perceiving information being fed to you. And then you can respond with authenticity and integrity in letting the person know who's trying to communicate with you, hey, I'm emotionally spent. I know you mean well, but I can't hear it right now. I need to go lay down. Or I just need you to hold me for right now until I feel a little bit safer, until I feel like I can empty my cup. Can you just listen for a minute so I can empty my cup? And then maybe I can hear what you're trying to tell me. But right now I'm so overwhelmed, I can't hear it. I can't hear it the way you're trying to give it to me. And I know you mean well. These things are important, folks. When you're in relationships, these things are important. Have a great week. I look forward to visiting with you next week. Please comment. Let me know what you want to hear. Let me know what's helpful. I want to have discussions with you. All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.